All right, guys, we are back. Welcome back to the Ready, Set, Blow podcast, episode 324, Dave.
324.
Everyone, I have the same reaction every time I have a first-time guest on. It's my guest, Dave Neal. Very, very funny. Very handsome young man.
That's impressive. Thank you.
Well,
324.
we started this right after January 1st, 2017, and I started comedy like 4 months before that.
Amazing.
So, yeah, I was originally with Chase Abel, who introduced us.
Yeah.
It's funny.
I didn't even know that was our connection.
I know. So Dave and I were on a show last week, way out in Monrovia, which is east of Pasadena, and might as well be fucking, Vietnam.
We refer to it as like Los Angeles, but they don't. They're like, no, this is like closer
it's
to
way
Palm
far
Springs.
out. It's way, yeah, exactly.
We just
it's
agree
like
to go to jobs, don't even know if we're going to get paid. Talk about needing a union. This is it. We're like three rungs
just
below.
fucking whores.
It'd be like if strippers weren't getting paid.
Yeah,
They were
exactly.
like, all right,
just
I'll show up. Where's
we're
the pole?
unpaid whores. That's what we are. It's
We're like anyone, like they're making money. We're up there just being like, do I get a free drink?
Yeah, I get drink tickets and chicken nuggies. Yeah. This is what a steal here. No, but we were talking at the show, and Dave's like, yeah, forget how I met you. And it's way back, and I was telling Dave, I think it was either I just started or it was even before I started, because it was like 2016. I don't know when you left the New England area.
Oh, it's been a decade.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, but you're from Rhode Island.
Rhode Island.
Okay.
I started comedy kind of weirdly in LA and New York.
Okay.
So I never really started in the New England scene.
Got it.
Yeah.
But I don't know what you do. I guess you were back there for a show at Laugh Boston or something.
I was opening for Craig Shoemaker.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I got to do all these beautiful rooms he does. Because
Yeah.
like when comedy, you get the A, B, C, bar show, whatever.
Yeah.
And he's a touring headliner for 30 years.
Yeah.
So I was just like a year into comedy, being like, thinking I'm hot shit.
Nice. Oh, you're only a year in? That's awesome.
Only a year in at that time.
Good, man.
Or maybe not in 2016. No, I've been doing comedy for 10 years. So maybe, you know what? Maybe I was back for a different show.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe I wasn't touring. With
Yeah,
him.
but I think Chase was working the door. He used to work the door at Laugh Boston.
Yeah.
So he introduced me to you. I guess you'd known him from popping around Boston or whatever. And then I had lost touch with you for fucking ever. And then we bumped into each other at the show.
It's like if you're like used to hook up with a girl, you're like, how do I know her?
I know this guy.
I know this guy. But we just don't know. And that's comedy.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's why
you
I
worked
love
one show with somebody 12 years ago, and it's like, oh yeah, that guy.
And it's got the little camaraderie. You can go up to some random bar show in Chicago and be like, oh, do you know this guy? Oh, that guy. You just know everyone. Because there's a couple thousand or so comics that are actually like getting around.
Yeah.
So when you think of that, it's like a very large high school.
It's true. Like, in terms of who, there's plenty of comics in any one city, but any comic who's like left the city and traveled around a little bit, that number is real small.
Yeah.
I bet the number of comics who travel, who like do road gigs, is probably under 1,000.
Yeah.
If I had to guess. And that includes feature acts.
And
Yeah,
then
that includes not just the headliner, the feature act. Headlining touring comics, less than 500 of them.
And
easily.
sometimes sometimes the touring comics you know less of because they're just the headliners that bop into whatever town. And we're kind of at that stage where we're doing the showcase shows where you meet 10 comics at a time.
Yeah.
Some headliners are like they're in with their own guy and they're out and they stop. Like when I used to open for Shoemaker, he stopped knowing any of the younger comics.
Of course.
He's been a touring guy for years, so he only knows the guys he came up with.
Yeah.
Which is like early 90s, late 80s, like that.
Yeah, whatever his class was.
But like when we talk, it's like, all right, this guy's a New Yorker. Where did you start? Did you do Gotham? Did you do We can quickly break down just through geography where we know.
Well, yeah, what clubs you've overlapped on. But that show that we did was interesting because we commiserated. We won't name names of the other comedians on the show, but the guy paid to quote unquote close the show, headline it, whatever. He came in, already had a beef.
Drives an hour.
You drive more than an hour because Monrovia, the traffic out there is fucking.
Yeah.
It's 30 miles, but it might as well be fucking 400. I mean, that closed show is at like 8 o'clock, so you got to get on the road by like 6:45.
Yeah.
Drove all the way out there. Bitched and moaned to the booker about this is not ideal. Whatever the setup was, people were drunk at this bar. Obviously, it's fucking Monrovia. I don't know what else there's to do besides drink. And so he asked to go up first, even though he's supposed to close it, right? Guys up what was we out there for? 7, 8 minutes max.
Couldn't have been more than 8 minutes. Supposed to be 30.
Walked off the show.
Yeah. After threatening several times.
After threatening the audience.
Car right around.
Yeah, he's like scolding the audience, which of course, if you're doing a live performance, you know what the audience likes when you berate them.
I mean, I like a good like Bill Burr, fuck the audience, Philly. Like I like a good.
But you still want them to laugh.
Yeah.
You're not like actually. He was like condescending to the audience.
Yeah.
It wasn't a good look.
Well, it's like not the crowd, and you learn something from every type of crowd, right? So like it was not the type of crowd that wanted a long drawn out story because like they were like half listening. Those types of the crowds you need to get them with like weird stuff. Like say something so that they turn away from their party and go, "What did he just say?"
Yeah, exactly.
Like that's the type of crowd you wanted, and that's not what he was trying to do.
Yeah, I worked in an urban room once, and the guy was like, "You got to yell at these motherfuckers." Like the booker was like, "Yeah, you got to get their attention."
It's
you got to holler at them, get them.
It's like a dog fight out there. Sometimes you need to just bark loud and not be the one who's going to get pushed around.
Yeah, well, that's how I deal actually most heckling. I mean, I've gotten thankfully. I say surprisingly, but people are like, no, dude, no one's gonna bother you because you're like an oaf up there. But I haven't had much of it. But usually, you just talk louder and louder until they shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Like I mean, it takes like I'll just project because I have a deep, loud baritone voice and whatever they're talking about. I have the microphone. I just drown them, and eventually they start to look up like, why is this guy so loud? And they fucking shut up.
You learn as a comic to like ask questions that are kind of yes or no answer because you don't want to be like, how was your day? And she's like, well, he's a no. Like you can feel the energy.
That's why the question, like, what do you do for a living? I mean, it's a very common question, but but people have a hard time explaining their jobs. Like when I was an investment banker or whatever, like you're a lawyer for a food processing company. Like how do you explain that in a quick? Not everyone's a nurse or a cop. Nowadays a lot of fucking desk jockeys out there that don't even know what they do for work.
Yeah, just give me a Village People answer.
Yeah.
Give me a quick, what do you do? Well, on Thursday, okay.
Yeah, my side hustle, shut up.
And that's the thing, like, I'm like, my ADHD, if I feel bored by something, I feel like the audience is, and it's like, it's
the right move.
Yeah, but you have to know your audience. Like, that wasn't the crowd where a bouncer's going to kick somebody out.
No,
so
it's a bar
if someone's heckling, you don't know, they might be like the owner's best friend.
Could be the owner. I've been in, you've done bars in Boston where the loudest fuck is the one running the bar.
Yeah.
Also, he's like cursing him out. It's like, I own the joint. Like, shit, sorry, man.
If you really had all ego, you would walk out like that guy did.
Yeah.
Which is like, is that the productive thing to do versus like being like, okay, like I'm trying to fuck you and you're not moaning. So let's try a new move. Let's go
let's try something else. But my thing, I put it back and forth in my head a little bit because I told a few other comic friends about what this comic did walking off 7 minutes into his set and saying, fuck it, I don't need the money. I mean, when I say he walked off the stage, I mean, he literally held the microphone upside down like it was dirty, handed it to the booker, and went right off stage, right out the front door. I mean, like everyone saw, like the whole fucking bar saw him leave. And I thought about it. I was like, in some levels, I respect the fact that, I mean, we've all done shit shows, and we've all like, what the fuck am I doing? Yeah. You're like, he had enough self-respect to walk out. Like, I'm not gonna, like, I don't have to go through this. But then there's the other part of you, like, well, as a comic, it's like, well, that's. And maybe this is me romanticizing comedy and the struggle and all that. But it's like, that's what you got to do. You got to take that loss, big dog.
Work on some new shit.
Yeah, exactly. And that's really the way to look at it. Not take the loss, but like, all right, use it as all right, this sucks. Might as well work on some new shit.
Yeah.
Or like I said, the fucking guy spent an hour and a half driving out there already. Dude, if I'm out there, I'm getting fucking paid. Like I'm doing that 30. I'll do that 30 minutes in silence and just sit there.
Yeah.
Like if I have to do that.
He got his free beer. He was getting paid $30. It's not even the time on stage quitting, it's the drive home.
Yeah.
It's going, really? Like, did I really need to waste the 3 hours? And now my wife's going to be like, oh, wait, I need,
Yeah, he could have bailed on that before he drove to Monrovia.
Yeah. When you accept the gig, you see that it's at a beer hall. Like, you know what that's going to be. We know as comics, based on the title of the gig, what it's going to be. And because he kind of quit on the show, I don't remember the name of the other comic, but every other comic that went up there had a great set.
Oh yeah, I was gonna. That's
everyone had a good
That's
time.
what I was gonna say. After that, the next comic that went up did the smart thing. He got everyone on his side as opposed to the guy who left. He's like, I won't quit on you guys, and immediately they liked him. And then it was just smooth sailing for the rest of us. The show turned out to be great.
Great show.
Yeah.
But such a
so
good
him leaving
example.
actually helped the rest of us out.
It's such a good example of just like you get what you think it is. Like it's all law of attraction. So he thought this show was gonna suck, and it sucked. We picked up the scraps and had a good time. And I've never seen 10 years in stand-up a guy quit on his time. I've actually never seen that before. Maybe once.
I've seen it like at open mics, like, so I'm going to try out. But I've never seen a paid show.
Yeah, you do 9 minutes when you're supposed to do 11. The crowd doesn't like you. You feature, you do 15 instead of 18. I've never seen, like, you're supposed to do this and you're not going to do it. Every hell gig I've heard of headliners, they're like, all right, and I stood up there and because all you have to do as a comic is not get off the stage.
Yeah.
All you have to do is talk. and you get paid. Now, obviously, it's not about the money. It wasn't a big deal. But like for some comics where it is about the money and they do have to do the hell gigs, they just have to stand up there and count down the clock. Wait till it's over.
I know. I got a corporate gig in December. I'm nervous about.
Oh my gosh.
I know. I haven't done many. You've seen my act. My act isn't made for corporate. Now, the people hiring me are friends. They came to shows that I was open for Jeff Dye, and they came out to Jeff Dye shows. They liked me, and they wanted me. So they know who I am. They've seen my act. But still, I'm like, I don't know. And they're paying me a fucking grip. And I'm like, oh no. Like, I hope I don't fucking disappoint them.
I just had to dodge a lawsuit because
for what?
I got asked to do a corporate show, and they were like, "What's your rate?" And I was like, in my head, I was like, "This is the number I would drive to Vegas to do it. I'm gonna triple it. I got to triple."
You know what? I'm glad you said that because most fucking comics will negotiate against themselves, like. Oh, I'll just ask for 500, so they just want me to come or whatever.
I so badly didn't want to do this. I think I said I'll do it for $5,000, and I think I would have done it for $1,500.
Yeah. Yeah.
My lady's gonna want to come. We're gonna go to a Vegas show. We're gonna
be a
stay
thing.
stay at the place where I was at, which is one of the top Vegas casinos. It's like a $700 a night. I was like, this is the price that gets us there. Okay. And I was like, I should have said more. but then I was
it's always the case.
And all I had to do was 30 minutes at 10 a.m. I can't say the name of the company legally. I've signed paperwork.
How was it?
Well, I'll tell you this. So then I get my buddy to be on.
Because 10 a.m. it's a fucking brunch. It's not even a nooner. You're doing brunch.
So I got to make my money back now because I actually broke even. So you're about to find out how I went from $5,000 to breaking even. But I got my buddy on the show who's a touring headliner. And I got him $1,000, but he lives in Vegas. So I got him $1,000. Now he's going to split time. So instead of 30, I only have to do 15.
Nice.
Easy peasy. They said they wanted like not squeaky clean, but PG-13 level. I came in, I wrote jokes specifically for this audience, and like the actual new jokes I wrote just for them got applause breaks, and then I was like, my tried and true bombed, and it was kind of like a mix between sales guys that were fun, but they were all there for like a four-day conference. So this was the fun part. I mean, they were listening to like webinars with boring people.
Yeah.
So this was absolutely the fun reward for them. My buddy comes on stage and does darker stuff, but crushes, and then a lady walks out crying. We're high-fived by everybody on the way out. Thanks so much for coming. This was amazing. And the DJ and the sound guy who's in charge of it all was like, "Oh, that was great. 300 people, big energy." It was right before lunch, and then the sound guy goes, "Yeah, that was amazing. This lady just walked out crying." She immediately gets on her like Slack text messaging, and next thing you know, as we're being high-fived, everyone starts to find out who hired these guys, and she immediately went to like, "How do we get these guys fired?" And luckily...
Well, you already did the gig. At that point, I'm like, I don't give a fuck who complained. I finished. Yeah. I didn't walk off. You owe me them. The contract says I do 30 minutes. You get... Fuck. I don't care if you didn't like it. You fucking pay me now.
And the contract said clean, but not what type of clean.
Okay.
So you can say fuck in a PG-13 movie. Yeah. You just can't say you're fucking somebody.
Yeah.
So you can say words, how words are said. Like you can say douche, but not douchebag. All these stupid things. But it's a $1 billion company. They're refusing to pay. They spent about a month not getting back to me. And I knew it was a problem. And I'm like, I've already spent all this money being here and everything. And after a month or so, their legal finally gets back to me saying, well, we're going to pay you, but not your buddy. And I already said I was going to pay
What a bunch
him.
of misers.
Yeah. So I got my $5,000. I had probably spent $3,000 easy on the weekend. Yeah. I don't even gamble. We went to fun shows and had a good time. And I vowed I was going to pay him no matter what, even though he's a super funny headliner. All he had to do was do 15 clean. He could have done that, but he didn't. Yeah. And the reason she left crying had nothing to do with it. He was like making fun of his own body, and she was like, he's shaming people and all this bullshit. And we're like, you're in Vegas. People's knees are being broken for like counting cards right now. Like everything else they did in Vegas, they were okay with, but words is what hurt them.
This has been going on for a few years now, but I don't understand why the whole world, or at least this country, obviously the rest of the world could give a fuck about this stuff. I'm sure in Russia they don't care, but like, why are we like bowing down to the most sensitive people in our community?
But you see how quickly the company did.
We used to like honor strength and courage, and now being a fucking bitch is what people are like, oh, sorry, I'm sorry I hurt your feelings. Like we're kowtowing to these people who are making everybody else miserable.
Yeah,
You know,
I
like
mean,
it's a very strange
we
thing.
had 299 people that were fine, and then we had one
Yes.
who was the like
yeah,
diversity.
so it ruins it
She was
for everybody.
Yeah.
They'd be like that. The analogy I
The
always
guy was
make is-
talking about crap in his pants. He wasn't being like, I mean, trust me when I say.
So that's not even a. He
So
wasn't
then
even talking
af-
about like
so
fat
then-
people or fat shaming or
It was all
race. He was talking about
himself.
taking a dump. Like,
He was talking about how his own fatness, and he doesn't want to lose weight because then he doesn't want to be skinny ugly.
Okay.
He's fat cute. He doesn't want to be skinny ugly. That's his old bit. It's a good bit.
Yeah.
So, but afterwards we're like, the lawyers, a month later, well, it was uncalled for. I'm like, I'm not going to admit to that. I just know I can't argue with you guys, so just pay me the $5. I'm going to pay him out of my pocket, but I want everyone to know I'm taking the hit, not him.
Yeah.
But it was nice enough of them, I guess, to not stiff me too.
Yeah.
But it was like, God damn it, my buddy, like he lived 2 minutes away. He was there for 15 minutes, and he fucks shit up so much. And so then he's going on podcasts complaining about it. I'm like, no, you don't get to complain about it. I lost the money.
Yeah, you got paid the full rate, dude.
So next time the rate goes double, 10 grand, easy. No, it's just not worth it.
Well, that's the thing. I got to make sure I read what the contract is. They know what I do.
Just make sure they're paying you on the
if
day.
they, like I said, I'm friends with the person who owns the company, but I got to make sure I read that contract because I don't want to have to get like look. If you hire me, it's to do what I do. Like, if you want the clean comic, then go get fucking somebody else. And I'm okay with that. Like, I know I'm not going to get a lot of corporate work for the stuff I do in the clubs. If I want to build a different set, that's a different story. But but to hire someone for something and then not pay them for doing the thing that you knew they were going to do, it's a little strange.
And look, I get how annoying it is, the idea of like railing against cancel culture and this and that, but you have to protect yourself because I'm not like one of those like rail against it guys, but it cost me $1,000.
Yeah.
Just an innocent thing. We could have talked to the lady. We could have apologized. I'm so sorry that this wasn't what you expected. As a comic, you get on stage, his initial thing wasn't getting the laughs and he kind of just like went full funny.
Yeah.
And he is full funny. And he went for the laughs instead of remembering, hey, let's not say certain words. But he for sure wasn't doing things that would be even looked at twice in a comedy club. But that's the thing. When you work in a corporation, you work for somebody else and you can get fired. And when you work for yourself, when you tour, when you have an email list, when you have your own equity, you're in charge.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why comedy is great because if someone wants to get you fired and you're a traveling comic, they got to get you fired from like about 100 different clubs.
Well, that's one of the reasons I got into this business. Because look, I mean, obviously, I had a great job before. I hated the work, or it just wasn't fulfilling me. I wouldn't say I hate it. It was certainly challenging and interesting, but it just wasn't fulfilling me. But when I look at it, like it's obviously really hard to make it as a comedian. But if you just make enough, like you said, to build enough where you can travel to 30, 40 cities throughout the year, make your nut, have a little podcast and something, make some money doing that. No one can tell you shit. It's the only job I know where you literally can't be fired from being yourself. If you build an audience that's yours, you're untouchable. They tried to cancel Louis C.K. He's still doing theaters.
People will say with him, and it's not even about like the morality of it. He apologized, and he actually had one of the best apologies you'll ever have. I think people go, geez, it was a pretty good apology. He kind of nailed on everything. But yeah, he wasn't canceled. He's still touring the world. Well, he lost about a $30 million movie, of his own investment. So the idea of cancel culture is not explained properly. It's kind of like the idea of defund police. It's like this giant term we hear, but we don't really know what's being said. So cancel culture, it's about fucking with somebody because you don't like what they said or did. That's really what it is. It's not about firing someone forever. It's about fucking with them. And that's what happened there. And in a small level, it happened on that show I had. And I'm like the least controversial comedian. I mean, my whole YouTube channel is squeaky clean. I play by the YouTube rules, which is try to swear less because, advertisers, it's just like, they're kind of like a conservative thing. Yeah. Fine. Totally fine. We can play by these rules, but, you just want to like play fair. And it's not that fair when one person can raise hell or get 10 or a dozen people to raise hell to a corporation and be like, oh, this guy, he's performing at the Cheetos Center, tweet to Cheetos. And then Cheetos is like, oh, geez, who's this random guy? We don't need this. So corporations are so risk adverse that they overvalue what the like sort of complaints are.
Yeah, one complaint is worth 1,000 laughs somehow. Like you said, with 300 people laughing, the one fucking woman who had a tough day the show must stop.
And we could have had a good conversation over lunch. I could have talked to her.
And it's a little bit too, what I don't like is the rat culture of it. Like, I'm going to go tattletale to the boss. It's like I assume the woman was an adult if she was working for a corporation. She could have just left. Said, not for me.
Yeah.
But no, stop the show, everybody. And when it's like, if you don't like a movie, do you go up to the projectionist and say, cut the fucking film? This is over?
Yeah.
You go to IMAX and be like, all right, I'm burning the place down. I don't like that movie. No. You just get up, get the fuck out. You can ask for a refund. Hey, I didn't like that. Can I get my money back? All right, fine. And you walk away. You don't just tell everyone they have to stop what they're doing. Everyone else has to stop now.
That's where it becomes kind of performative, where you go.
It is.
You shouldn't
look
make
at me,
your
I'm
money.
the victim, I'm sad.
It's like, if you don't like Anthony Jeselnik's style of humor, go find something you like. We live in the best time in the world for, like, it's so the robust nature of how much content exists out there. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Now, I get if a comic drops in who's like if Bill Cosby dropped in on a Comedy Cellar show, I get it.
Yeah, people won't like it. They'll leave.
Tell people before if he's going to be on the show and give them that choice, if that's the case. I totally get that. But, like, yeah, the idea of, like, I always say the lightness is the greatest disinfectant. Sunlight's the greatest disinfectant. But if people don't want to have simple conversations and I don't know. But, like, this one lady who complained, everyone, when she initially complained, everyone was like, oh, she complains about everything. And then by the time the lawyers talked to me, they were like, what you did was wrong. And I was like, I get the whole theater that's going on.
Yeah,
you are all saying what was wrong. Everyone was crying, laughing. The energy of the room was better after that comic left than before. You guys got a treat by seeing him.
Yeah.
You saw a local working Vegas comedian who tours the country.
Yeah.
You got it. He performs for all the troops abroad. He's in Dubai right now performing for the troops. That's a-okay. But at 10 a.m. too much. So anyway, it's just one of those things you learn. You go, I don't want to have my income be based off of having to sort of walk on thin ice like that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because it makes you, when you do that, it kind of takes the fun out of being a comedian, because it makes you feel like you have a regular old corporate job where you could be fired for shit you do, say or do. Like technically we're paid to say outlandish things. Yeah. I mean, like, if we just said what everyone wanted to hear, it wouldn't be a comedy show.
Yeah,
then it would just be the most boring fucking monologue of all time.
And I can
it's
already,
like, you're all wonderful, you're great, all your beliefs are valid. It's like, none of that is funny. Nothing about that is funny.
Yeah, and it's like, look, I can already feel the comment section being like, oh, two white guys on a podcast complaining about cancel
I'm not
culture.
white, it's okay.
But what? This Italian and this Irish.
I'm not even Italian.
What are you?
Dominican.
Dominican. Oh, there it is. All right, a Dominican. Yeah. Right. I lived in Harlem on 140.
Oh, there you go. So you know my people.
We have quite a lot of the Dominicans, but they love to play their music from the trunk of their car. I love.
Oh yeah, right on the street.
Oh,
and they pull out the chairs and they all just sit right in front of the bodega. It's like a fucking hood jury
playing
box.
dominoes. Yeah. I'm dancing. Yeah. No. Hey.
Rating every woman that walks by.
I loved 140th and Broadway. When I moved up there, I was like going up to see an apartment up there. I was like, take it. The energy was so amazing. Coming from some like quaint like cul-de-sac Rhode Island neighborhood.
How'd they take to you?
Perfectly fine.
Okay.
Yeah. No. I mean, I never had any issues.
That's a secret about New York. It's like, once you live in the neighborhood and they see you around, it's no longer dangerous. Like, you're like, oh, he's the white boy who lives down the block. Yeah. Like as long as they know that you lived there, you're totally fine. It's when you're not from the neighborhood and you walk through, like, who the fuck is that guy?
And
like,
they were probably more protecting of me.
Yeah, of course.
There's this idea of like, we want to make people feel like they're welcome.
Yeah.
I watched like is it In the Heights or The Heights? Whatever that movie that was a play. Oh my gosh. It's truly on a heat wave. It's dancing in the street while they let out the pressure of the fire.
The hose hydrant. Yeah.
That's it. That's the neighborhood. It was. I'm considering moving back. I truly loved living there.
Really?
Yeah. I mean,
you seem like such a California guy, though. I didn't even know you're from Rhode Island.
Oh, I'm a city guy. Like even yesterday, I was on Melrose. I had to pick up my suit for my wedding. And I was just like, it was like that part of Melrose where there's just street traffic. And I was like, I just put in a little extra time on the meter and hung out on the street. I'm just like a people watcher. And that's what's hard with stand-up, with writing. In New York, you can be at a cafe, you can be somewhere, and you can have this energy flowing by, and you can just sort of like tap into it. In LA, it's very much more like car culture.
Oh, you're all in a bubble.
Yeah.
And no one leaves. No one leaves the neighborhood they're in. Like if you live in Santa Monica, there's no way you can go to visit a friend in Pasadena. I mean, there's no way. No. Like you have to plan that 3 weeks in advance.
Yeah. What's in
it for me? A housewarming party.
That's why gift
Do you have a
bags
pool?
exist,
If you have a pool, I'm coming. Otherwise, you can go fuck yourself.
That's why my fiance started dating me, because I moved into a place with a pool and laundry. She was like, I was like, she's over all the time. Come to find out, she didn't have.
Now, how long have you been dating her? Is this the same girl that you were with way back in 2017?
Yeah.
No shit.
Yeah, we've been together for 8 years.
Where'd you meet her?
We met on 30th and 3rd Street in New York.
Just on the street?
We were on a bus.
Walking the track?
We were on a TV show doing background work, and when you work outside of the bubble of Manhattan, SAG and AFTRA will start paying you for the transportation. So it was this Kate Winslet miniseries called Mildred Pierce. Okay. So they pay you the second the bus takes off. And you show up at like 5 a.m. or whatever the call time is, 30th and 3rd or 86, whatever. There's like 4 different designated locations depending on where you're going. And I just remember walking on the bus going, whoa, she was gorgeous. Like just this beautiful, lady, and probably like 50 or 60 of us. And then later on that day, ended up talking to her. Didn't really become friends, just kind of got each other's info. And then years later, several years later, I'm out in LA and she got wind of it and we met up and went hiking.
Got wind of it?
Well, like through Twitter or one of those like social media things. Like
you make it sound like she had a private eye looking for you. Where the fuck is that Dave Neal character?
She wanted nothing to do with me when we met. She was a total bitch to me. She'll tell you.
Oh, why is that?
Total. She was going through some breakup. It was like some humid day at work, and I'm like, hey, how are you? I'm like, sitting next to her at lunch.
Yeah, trying to make small talk.
Yeah, just small talk. And I thought she was beautiful, but I was like, total fuck boy running around town. All right. Oh, you got a boyfriend? Bye. That's fair, whatever. And then in LA, she still had a boyfriend and I had a girlfriend. So we actually became friends for a little bit. My relationship ended and hers did completely separately. And then I saw her once and she hugged me and I was like, oh, this is a single person hug. You could just tell.
She leaned in on it.
She'll
you
never
felt her nipples on your chest.
My own. I was like, oh. She'll never admit to it, but I was like, whoa. And I remember that moment. And that was back in New York because I had moved back and she was still in LA. 2 months later, I get the gig opening for Shoemaker. And he's like, you got to move to LA. You got to be on a West Coast comic. We do a lot of gigs out there. I was like, I guess I'm moving to LA. And I didn't do it to start dating her. But within 2 months, we were dating. Nice. So it's just like really worked out. Got engaged several months before the pandemic, kind of sat around for a bit.
How long took you guys together before you got engaged?
5 years.
Smart.
Yeah.
Dude, long engagement's where it's at. Do you guys live together before you?
Oh, yeah.
See, not enough people, I feel like, you have to, before you get married, you got to live with that person. You can't not do it.
I think I actually said it on stage of that show. Where I was like, yeah, she gave me a 2-year ultimatum. She was like, you got to propose after 2 years. I'm not trying to wait around. And then 5 years later, I got down on my knee and proposed.
Oh, 5 years.
I mean, I was like, all right.
You waited her out?
Right, I'm poor. I got to get money. She wants a ring. I got all these things. And then eventually it all worked out. And then the pandemic hit months later. I proposed in Thailand. We were on a vacation. Nice. The ring kind of came together. And then we were like, all right, let's just wait a little bit. And then the pandemic lasted longer and longer. And finally, like 6 months ago, we were like, oh, shit. If we don't book a spot, it's another year wait. So that's in like 20 days.
The wedding?
Yeah.
Whoa. Where are you guys doing it? Here in LA?
Outside of Tulum. Or outside of Cancun in Tulum.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very fucking Instagram influencer idea to get married in Tulum. Is this her idea?
Yeah. I was okay
Obviously.
with it. I was
like, you get married in your apartment.
She considered, because she's actually not a diva with this stuff at all, because she's a model. I was
going to say, what does she do?
She's done 10 different bridal shoots. We've done bridal shoots with world-renowned photographers, all that bullshit. She's already done all that. So she's like, I don't need the I'm a princess for the day. So many people, it's like, it's just pure, like, just I don't know, childhood trauma.
Yeah, well, I've always said it seems super wasteful. Like, it's like, let's spend $60,000 on a wedding for a party for our friends. So what do you get out of it? Like you'd rather, why not fucking buy a new car or put a down payment put it towards a house or something?
The best case scenario is going to a wedding as a fringe friend.
Oh my God.
Fringe friend. If you're close, you got to like help out and deal with you put out fires. If you're single and a fringe friend, you're having the time of your life.
Oh yeah.
You can disappear with whoever, you can do that.
The best setup I ever had when I got invited to a wedding, my good buddy Jeff, different Jeff, not Jeff Dye. He's a civilian, so I won't say his last name. He knew I didn't like standing for wedding parties because I don't like the responsibility. But he wanted me around for all the events, for the rehearsal dinner and the brunch and all this shit. So he made me an usher. And my only job was to bring his grandmother down the aisle. So you got to be sober for the wedding, Randy. You got to be sober for the ceremony. But other than that, and I went there. I mean, it was like 5 days in Boulder, Colorado. I had the best time of my life.
It's amazing.
I got invited to everything, had no responsibility.
Yeah.
Hitting all the fucking bridesmaids, and no one cared.
And then I was like, you walked down the grandma.
Yeah, it made me look good with all the bridesmaids. How cute! Look at that guy with the grandma.
My goal
he
is
set it up for me perfectly. Thank you, Jeff Carlson.
My goal is to there aren't too many single people at the wedding, but I'm like, who can I get laid? I want stories. I want to know because as far as I'm concerned, the bride and groom, I don't think there's much fucking happening night of the wedding. I mean, this is a long day.
It's a long day. One of you will get drunk. It's like, and also you've been living together for years. We can fuck tomorrow at our own bed and not in this.
We're gonna get some takeout food. The wedding, so the what you get for the same price is unbelievable. And
down Tulum.
Oh yeah, we have a churro guy showing up. We've got and that's not there's the cake. There's a 10-hour open bar. It's in a palapa private beach side, and we splurge. She blew half the budget on flowers,
flowers
because they basically give you for 50 people, there's an all-in price, and for that they'll do you want the jazz saxophonist to play, or do you want this? And it's this or that, and we kind of got to everything we wanted, but. Yeah, it's gonna look beautiful, and she's pretty happy. I mean, stressed.
Are you guys
out.
gonna do the honeymoon right there when they stick around for a few days, or are you guys gonna do that separate?
We're there for a week. The wedding's probably the 4th day we're there, and then the day after the wedding, we're doing a pool party, which I guarantee will be more fun.
That's the best, dude.
I'm gonna be kind of sober for the wedding until maybe the mid to late night dance floor.
That's the smartest idea. I had one friend whose wedding I went to years ago in St. Martin. And it was the closest friends all went down for a week. A small wedding, that 40 people, his family, her family, and then all of their best friends. And we stayed there for the week, the whole group of friends, we're going to make a week out of it, and the wedding will be at the end of the weekend. And me and his brother planned a pool party for the Wednesday. The wedding was on Saturday. Yeah. And the pool party was gonna be great. Everyone still talks about the pool. The pool party is where it's at. It's going to be the best part. You're so happy you did that.
Everyone's staying at an all-inclusive, so
you got nowhere to go. No one's driving.
Yeah, just swimming up to the little that pool stool where it's a stool and a
drinking
urinal.
Miami Vice with rum toppers.
Is anyone peeing right now? Oh, we peeing.
We all are.
Shitting our pants. It's pure
the pool water's turning green all of a sudden. It's what the fuck?
Oh yeah, it's gonna be great. My only goal though is for the wedding's on the 5th day, so I'm I gotta fit into my suit. So I gotta go nice for a couple days and try to be healthy and all that. But I think it's gonna be a core memory. Her family, my family. We have a friend who's coming in who's a world-renowned magician. So he's gonna do magic at the cocktail hour, cool weird stuff. Nice. And because I'm
you're gonna do a set right after the ceremony.
Doing time.
I'm gonna do a tight 40 after the nuptials.
It's gonna be great. And
I wonder if anyone's ever had a comedian come to a wedding. I bet it has to have happened.
Well, I hear Louis J. Gomez was the best man at a wedding. I can't remember whose, but apparently he tells a story where his speech bombed. He gave his wedding because. Giving the best man speech at a wedding is supposed to be the easiest crowd.
Oh, I did it. I kept it short and sweet.
Did you get good laughs and everything?
Yeah. I swear to God, it must have been less. It must have been 5 minutes or less.
Yeah.
But apparently I quoted it was my buddy's wedding. I quoted things that he said, that over the years that I kept a little log of, about love and relationships and all that, and they all laughed at that. And then I ended up, but I love him. I love you too. Round of applause down. If you're there doing 15, 20 minutes trying to get fucking cute,
and then in the 7th grade, no. No, we don't have groomsmen, bridesmaids, so there's no wedding party. Everyone who's there, the cool thing we got going is my 2 younger brothers. They're I think 19 and 23.
Oh my God,
they're young.
How old are you?
I'm 37.
Okay, I was gonna say,
big age difference. They're the beer bros. I saw this on a TikTok where. Rather than you have the flower girl come down and everyone's excited, and then you just crank some Jimmy Buffett music, and a couple beer bros walk down with the Coronitas, the skinny beers, and just passes them out to everyone on the beach. So that's going to be the cool set them.
Okay, but you're not going to do one of those where they drop the beat and the wedding party dances their way down the.
No dancing, no scripted. Although we have a wedding dance we're supposed to learn.
Oh well, they're all. I mean, yes, yeah.
But I tell you what, talk about like repressed. I'm pretty open with my emotions, I think. I've had my podcast and talk about whatever, but I'm looking at the mother-son dances, and I'm looking at them today. You play a song, and you think of like what's going to go down, you just start crying. You're like,
oh yeah. No, I'm a pretty good guy about. I don't want to say I'm unemotional because I do have feelings. I just invalidate them immediately. It's like you're being an asshole. But
When was the last time you cried?
I don't know, probably a couple months ago.
Okay.
Something.
Yeah. Weird stuff.
Yeah, different things. I think it was probably something about my grandfather because he passed away last year.
Yeah.
And I think I was like watching. I might have been watching A Bronx Tale. And like I fucking missed it. I'm like, oh man.
So New York.
Yeah.
The Yankees. Mariano Rivera was retiring.
No, it was the scene where he's if you've seen the movie where Robert De Niro's talking to his son and he's getting off the bus about wasted talent and all that. And I got fucking misty about that, but because it made me think of my grandfather.
Well, we sort of naturally just repress emotions, and then all of a sudden, like when my sister got married and she did the father-daughter dance with my stepdad, I was gone.
Yeah, but that's the thing. I almost got married once. We're talking weeks away from the nuptials here.
Really?
It was a whole thing.
Did you? But did
so I was living in Boston before I was a comic.
Was it? Did something happen, or was it like a long time coming?
We had a few conversations. I was getting nervous because she wanted kids right away, and I'd always said I'm not really into that. And she was like, all right, well, down the road. But then the road was coming, and I'm like, she's like, yeah, well, we should probably sell the condo. I just bought a condo for us in the South End, beautiful condo. She probably said, thinking about selling the condo soon. I'm like, why? We just bought it last year. It's like, well, if we have kids, and I'm like, we got a spare bedroom. She's like, yeah, but we need space. It'd be good to be closer to my family. And I'm like, I thought we were doing this cause. I thought we were living in the city doing the hip, yuppie fucking, millennials with money thing.
Yeah, next thing
back then I had bread, she had bread.
You're moving to a farm.
Yeah, and I'm like, so I told her, I was like, all right, I have misgivings. But then she really was like, no, I really want to get to it. And I'm like, I can't. So I was like, if we're not going to do kids, you need to find someone, marry someone who wants to have that family with you.
Well, that's good to let someone know like this isn't going to work,
But that's what I was saying. I was like, we were close to the end, and I was picking out the song for my mom, and you do think about like, oh man, like you listen to the lyrics and you're like, oh, you start getting choked up,
Stupid shit. I'm going to lose it. I'm going to lose it. I know I will.
This your first marriage?
Yeah.
Good. You waited long. How old's your girlfriend?
Let
me guess. 26.
My first girlfriend. I never had an official girlfriend before.
What?
I just dated people.
You're fucking handsome man. What are you talking about?
I dated people.
Oh, yeah, I guess you could just fuck everybody you want.
No,
Why would I date him?
I never had a...
Adam Levine, what a moron.
I've dated... I stood in for him. I stood in for him on the one movie he did.
I could see it. We'll get into his fucking story in a second.
Yeah, well, okay, we'll save that. Because I could see that from a mile away. But no, I dated girls, and they never made
some guys, but it's okay.
I think it was college. It was college. Anyone who's going to give me an affirmation, I'll blow you. And... Yeah, in New York, I lived in New York the whole time. And
young good guy, running around doing comedy at night.
So I started dating her when I was 28. She's 35 now.
Oh my God!
Yeah,
I guess it's been a long time.
Yeah, I mean her Facebook age might say 29. She changed her name. She changed her name.
I don't know. I'll find her on Tinder later.
Yeah, she changed her name years ago because she was like, my manager thinks I should play younger, and then
she changed her name
or her age. Okay. Sorry, on Facebook, and you can't just
she changed her gender this year. She was a man until now.
Yeah, I need to let people know these. So I think when we started dating, people thought she was really young. No, she's 2 years younger than me, but she's looks. I mean, it's L.A.
They all keep well out here.
Yeah,
it's like cars. That's why they keep classic cars in the desert.
There's no salt
because they don't age in the air. There's no contaminants in the air.
Yeah, because we know as East Coasters, we know of potholes and slush.
Yeah,
and
the fucking weather just dries you out.
You don't want to buy a car from New England, and you don't want a lady from New England either. You want
for much the same reason.
Mediterranean.
They're weathered.
Yeah. We're weathered too, but yeah.
Oh my God, I'm fucking damaged goods, buddy.
You know what's so funny? I don't audition for much. I might have told you this. I don't know, but I got an audition to play Larry Bird's coach, his college coach. There's that HBO show.
Whoa!
So I Google it.
Put you on stilts.
I Google it, and it's the guy from whatever Indiana University, whatever college he went to, and the guy was 37, but he was Indiana 1970s 37.
Dude, have you ever seen photos of your parents at our age?
Whether
they look fucking
haggard,
old, dude. And look, I'm not saying I look young, But I don't look like my dad at 37. My dad at 37.
The fear of not looking like my parents at their age keeps me trying to eat healthy. Just because, yeah, like 50, you'd mail it in and you'd be done. I want to consistently be challenging my brain body to sort of atrophy.
That's
slower.
what I think it is. They in some ways it's a bit romantic in that how they just gave up when they had their family. Like, by the time my parents had me. I think my dad was like 23. My mom was like 25. I had my sister already. My dad was 20. My mom was 23. So by the time they were 30, they had 3 kids over the age of 5.
Yeah.
35, their kids were in high school.
Yeah.
So like, and I think their mentality was they just like, I'm a parent now, and they just give up. They start wearing the white New Balances with the pleated fucking
tucking some polo.
Yeah, tucking a polo.
Shitty glasses.
Yeah, and they just own it. They just wear it. Like, fuck it. I'm a middle-aged man now, and I'm gonna wear it.
I'm not trying to be some like cool guy who's trying to like look like a drug dealer for like some high school. I'm not trying to be like hip and jive, but I think like,
that's how I know you're not trying to be hip or drive. Use jive.
Yeah. If my knees cannot give out for a couple more years, that would be a positive. Like and I think in general, you just hit this crossroad where you just decide like, am I gonna, because like having kids and all that, like that's in the future maybe for me and my fiance, but like we don't want to make our whole life about our kids. We want to like achieve our dreams. And we want our kids to see like that they can do that too. And don't get me wrong, if and when we do have kids, it's gonna be like, we're gonna be weathered, we're gonna be exhausted, of course.
They're gonna get you.
Yeah, but like we both have flexible incomes, flexible jobs where like all right, I'm not going to be, like we can work it out. Like I always say with stand-up comedians who work at night and for me, YouTube, it's very flexible. You're able to, I think, spend more time with your kids. I think we're going to be able to travel more than, like I never wanted to have kids the way my mom did it. She was a single mom until she remarried, and they run a business that's like very like just labor intensive. Like I don't want to bring people into the universe if they can't be like culturally like just diverse, travel and do all these things and see the world, and if that's what will happen if we do have kids.
Have you had the discussion about having them?
Yeah, we're at that place where like if we get knocked up, we get knocked up. We're like that's like I feel like 5 years ago you'd have the abortion talk, and now we're like no, I think we'd keep it now, But then like everything
by the abortion talk you mean you asking your girlfriend, what are you gonna do about it?
Yeah, what are you gonna do? You need me to drive you?
That's really the only question you got. What are you going to do? I'm going to get rid of it. Okay, I'll drive you. Here's some money. Like, but it's up to her.
It changes your life.
What are you going to do?
What are you going to do? Can I help you with anything for that? Do we need to, don't go near any stairs. But yeah, now we're at a place where like, that's the thing. We feel younger than we are, but like she's considered a geriatric. Like if she got pregnant, she'd be a geriatric.
Oh, pregnancy. Dude, I had Lizzie Weissman in here a few weeks ago, and she was just getting her eggs frozen.
It's crazy.
Yeah, she's like, oh, it's a whole process.
Yeah,
and she's like, you got to, they pull them out and they inspect them, and she's like, it's pretty invasive, and like, how long does it prolong the opportunity to like carry a kid? She's like, oh, like another 10 years. Because even after like 50, if you're in your 50s, carrying a baby can be dangerous for you.
Oh, yeah. And it's not just about, and then it's like, well, what about 10 years later when the kid's 10 years old? You want to be the old parents,
See, but that's a little bit of ego in that. Like, old parents, who gives a fuck? You know what I'm saying? Like, you're still alive, right?
I always say,
you want to be the cool parent? You're a fucking parent. You're a loser.
Oh, I'm gonna be so
who cares if you're 60 or 100? Get over it.
I just want kids that'll do TikToks with me. I just want content.
Are you big on TikTok?
I'm not, no.
But come on, man. You got TikTok face.
I'm a big consumer. I got TikTok face.
I mean, this is not TikTok face.
No.
This is mug you in an alley face.
No.
That is TikTok face.
I'll tell you what. I see like dads doing TikToks with their daughters, and I'm like, I'd love to do that. I would absolutely love to do that kind of fun stuff.
Yeah, I'd love to do TikToks with dads' daughters too.
Yeah.
Of age, guys. Of age.
So I don't know. I mean, the one thing I never wanted was to have a kid and be poor. I don't want to think about money in raising a kid. I was raised by a single mom. I don't.
You don't want to repeat the cycle.
Yeah, I don't want my kids to be rich and assholes, but I want to be able to like have a nanny if we need to have the laundry.
If I want to get away from my shitty kid.
I want to pay to avoid my non-existent children. No.
I want to have enough money so I don't have to raise my own kids.
Because like my family never really traveled, or like maybe go camping on the weekend, you just fight the whole time. I want to like run my business and have like literally pay a nanny or someone else to do the side stuff so I can hang out with my kid.
Yeah.
I don't want it to be like the kid's got to work, the family business or any of that. I just if we're going to bring kids into the world, because they always say like the worst thing with marriages is finances and then like having to make tough decisions with your kids and fighting and all that. I just don't want that. I want to just avoid that.
Completely. Smart. Now getting to the, I wanted to make sure I wanted to get your take on this because you are the Bachelor guy.
That's it.
So you got your nose deep in fucking public dating. Adam Levine, dude, came down on him like a ton of bricks today. I feel like that's how I get most of my news now is from memes. I didn't know shit about Adam Levine's personal life until I found out apparently he's cheating with at least 4 women.
So I mean, look.
What's the scoop here?
The guy's a rock star. Don't get me wrong. The guy's he's a good-looking guy. Whenever someone goes through something like, I don't even think, no, he's a good-looking guy. The guy's covered in tats.
Fucking millionaire.
Shape,
I mean, who cares?
Millionaire, rock star, all that jazz. Say what you want about Maroon 5. It's very successful, right?
Yeah.
He's probably just another weirdo musician, just like we're weirdo comics.
But I don't think it's that weird. It's like I find it funny that people are like, can you believe Adam Levine was cheating? I was like, I can't believe he wasn't. That would be more surprising to me. It's like you said, he's a rock star. He's a good-looking guy. He's got plenty of money. I'm sure his DMs are loaded with chicks hitting on him. It's like you only have so much willpower. How many times does he have to say no? Millions. He says yes once. He's a fucking asshole. I mean, look, it's fucked up what he did to his wife, but don't act surprised. It's like, can you believe it?
No,
what's the world coming to when a rock star fucks a woman who isn't his wife? Of course he's not.
Not surprised. Also, don't know what her arrangement is with him.
Good point. She might be down with that.
Well, he says he didn't cheat. Now, it doesn't mean they weren't married, but who knows? I have no idea.
Yeah, that's the thing too. That's a good point.
She goes, that's not cheating, and I go, I don't know what his deal was with her.
Yeah, especially out here in LA, that whole open relationship thing. But also, I'm sure that especially in those power couples of big marriages like that, I'm sure he's like, look, if you want to marry me, maybe he just said, if you want me to marry you, know that I'm going to be sleeping around. And she might be like, I'm okay with that. She might have just said, I'm okay with that.
And maybe she was like, I'm not into you, but this is comfortable, and we're together, and do whatever you want. Get your rocks off. We have no idea. But the weird part of the story is the Instagram model's name was Sumner like Lowe or something, Sumner, and he DM'd her saying, I want to name my kid after you. Is that weird? So he wants to name his son Sumner, and then that's when she blasted him, being like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, it's a terrible name.
like talking about like flying too close to the sun. It was like you got away with banging her for a year or whatever they did, and now she calls it out because she's like, "This is ridiculous."
Also, I don't think girls think it's hot if you're like, "Oh, I think you're so hot. I want to name one of my kids after you." It's like, no. That's if you're having a fling, like don't bring up your kids or your wife.
But also, it was a consensual thing. Like obviously, if he cheated on her, that's something he's gonna have to deal with his wife, and she's pregnant now and all that. But then Sumner was saying, hey, I feel like he kind of took advantage of me. It's like
that's complete utter horseshit.
You moved to
the
LA.
Power dynamic. I'm just a woman and he's a big rock star. It's like what the fuck you were doing.
And I think people shut that down real quick, being like, no, you know what you're doing.
And also, she's a rat. Yeah, she's a rat. I was talking about rats earlier. She's a filthy rat because look, she's doing this to up her fame. No question about it. I mean, he might have cheated and she might be, blowing her steam off. But she knows that by putting it out on TikTok and Instagram and all this, her fucking Q score is going way up. She's going to be trending on Google. She's an influencer, so that's her job is to get eyeballs on her.
Yeah.
I mean, even if it's true, just outing him publicly like that, she could have DM'd his wife directly and said, hey, he was cheating on you. She could have done that. But no.
Okay, so you can call her a rat, but morally, I still think it's okay for her to do that because it's like, look, this guy, if you're gonna sign up for banging random models, this is what you're signing up for. You're like, if he's gonna cheat, he needs to cheat with someone who's on his socioeconomic level because when the cheating's over,
but even then, women do that. You don't see guys going ratting out girls. Yeah, I mean, you've been out on the road. You've been out on the road. I'm sure you haven't told guys, "Hey, I fucked your wife." I'm sure you've it happens. Like rock stars fuck guys' wives all the time. They're not telling them, "Well, hey, I fucked so and so's wife." Guys never do that. Yeah. Guys will never out the woman.
That's why
I rarely see that.
That's why you don't see.
That's why men are better than women.
You don't see.
Men are better people than women.
Well, you don't see many high school cheating, like teacher affair scandals, where it's a younger woman. Well, no, that's not.
I actually saw one recently where it was a woman hooking up with another woman in school.
But you find out about the guys because the guys talk about it.
Yeah.
Because they're like, it's like an ego thing.
Of course.
But with Adam Levine, I don't know. I mean, look, she's entitled to get whatever clout she wants to get out of it, and he needs to do a better job of like of not
of
telling
keeping that shit under
a
wraps.
chick he was cheating on his pregnant wife with that he was going to name a kid after her. Like, you fucking.
It's pretty bad.
What do you want, man? You know?
Oh, dude. Speaking of having kids older, let's get into the news real quick since we're wrapping up here. I saw this, and because we were talking about freezing your eggs and having kids when you're older, and this is wild, dude. Of course, I go to the New York Post. It's the finest newspaper in the country. It's the paper of record. Fuck the New York Times. But I'm pregnant, and I'm pregnant with my own son's baby. Nancy Houck, a 56-year-old woman, can't wait to give birth to her granddaughter. I never planned for it, but I chose to carry my son's baby. She's acting as a surrogate for her son, Jeff, 32, and his wife, Cambria. I suddenly had the feeling a few months after that I should offer to do this because he was having trouble conceiving. I told my son that, and he teared up and was shocked. And I'm happy to do it for him. So she's 56.
This is science, man.
Having her 32-year-old son's kid.
But she's just the incubator.
Yes, it's not her egg. Not her egg.
But does the son watch his child be born through his mom? I'm not.
Oh, Dave, I didn't even think about that.
I'm in the waiting room for that.
I didn't even think about that. Yes, could you imagine? Oh my.
Yeah, but you're right. 56. I mean,
he's putting his mom's life at risk and the baby, technically.
That's old. Birthing's a traumatic experience.
I know, but like you said, I wonder if he and his dad are going to be on the other side of the curtain, looking down at her mom's vagina, like, look what your son did to my. Your son ruined my wife's vagina.
She bursts the kid and gives it like a Werther's original. Like, I'm your grandma now. Like, what? But that's journalism. That's it. That's the story. We got genocide. We got war in Ukraine. But grandma gives birth to grandkid. That's it.
All right, we'll do one more. These both came out today too. Penis size is linked to personality. Dick pics give a first impression. A new study by New Mexico researchers found that people with bigger penises are perceived as being more outgoing and attractive, although the opposite is true for men with smaller members. So they surveyed like 600 people, 80% of which are women, and they judged the penis on length, girth, and how much pubic hair they had. And apparently most women think that the men with either longer or thicker penises are more outgoing, and the ones with smaller ones are less outgoing and less attractive. And apparently all the women didn't like pubic hair.
Interesting.
So pubic hair is a no-no with most of the women didn't like pubic hair.
Pubic hair does not help when you're trying to like,
it's not putting your best foot forward.
You need those
or your best ball forward, whatever it is.
You want every optical illusion you can get down there. Look, but it just goes to show what people think they want versus like genetics and primal, like they're two sides. Like
it's a perception though too, because it's funny. It's like he's a big dick, he must be outgoing. It's like, well, he might be a mutant. Like he might be he might have fucking social anxiety sort of. Like judging a book by its cover, it's like But then a small dick guy.
Yeah, that's a real tough like experiment because there's so many things that can be at play. Like, maybe you hit puberty younger, and so that gets you in the cooler friend group because you're on the better sports team. Like, you get all these little sort of these little tipping points that can happen. That maybe you do have more confidence because you develop sooner, and people are into that. And then naturally over time, you're just more engaging because you had more charisma early on.
There's no. It's a weird link to think that like, because of this, that.
I always thought I had a small dick because
this is secret time. Okay, let's hear about it.
The two first dicks I saw were some of the two biggest dicks I've ever seen.
Well, I'm sure it was probably porn.
No, in person.
No, it was my dad and his uncle.
No. And that's the worst part. It was kids my age. They were just like, they were both like very large. And I was like,
when was this? How old was this?
This is like 12.
Oh, well, they might
but right at that age where they
But they might have been in puberty and you weren't.
Yeah.
They had like pubic hair and you didn't. You're like, I don't have any of that.
Yeah. And that's what's so funny with guys is like, between the ages of 12 to 15, you're like, I mean, I grew like 10 inches in 8th grade.
Yeah.
Like,
dude, I remember my ball hair started coming in. Like it came in on my balls before, like around my shaft. I was like, why do I have a beard on my balls?
It can't come in fast
just
enough.
on my balls.
One at every kid's got like a ruler, just trying. Did it grow today? You're measuring it. You're like measuring it from your taint.
You put a little thing on the wall like when you were growing up as a kid. You said it's just going out to the wall. It's your dick. You're marking it off today. I'm a little quarter inch bigger today.
I drank a Surge. I got a big hog today.
It's a cold day. I shrunk up a little bit. It's a little
New England
winter. Bad here. I do like this point though. They made in the article. Apparently, all on average, men that make more money have smaller members. That's how they ended the article.
Interesting.
Yeah, so like they've done a study that the wealthy women are attracted to wealthy men despite their penis
Single,
size.
longer, working longer hours, maybe. But then again, like CEOs are generally taller people, so like there's different factors. You'd think a taller person would naturally have a bigger dick to an extent, if you're judging by an average.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but I can understand that like the people that put that aren't dating maybe because they don't feel confident in the dating world are the ones that are out there just getting degrees and making money.
It's a good point. I mean, really, having sex, I've said it before, dude. If I had no sexual motivation, I would get back 6-7 hours a day.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, like, how many bad mistakes has any man made in his life because of thinking with his dick?
You got to harness it. You have to take your sexual energy and try to harness it because there are
studies. Like the Kama Sutra here? Is that how you landed a model, fancy face? What's going on here?
There are studies that show that like you can harness the energy that you have into creativity. You can harness it into different places. It's the guy like Adam Levine who has to DM a bunch of models because it's like, look, is telling this model she's sexy, is that going to be the fun? Are you going to burn off that energy? No. Tomorrow you're going to feel it again. That's why it's always like these Anthony Wieners. They have to send out all this stuff. It's like, bro, take up boxing, bang your wife, and go write a poem or something. Like, there's other ways to do this.
It also is evil because having the phone in your hand just makes it. I mean, it takes nothing. Hey, you're hot.
Yeah.
Or, especially for Adam Levine, hey, come backstage after a show. I mean, he could send that to 10,000 women, 9,000 of them are showing up.
Yeah.
Even if they don't think they're going to hook up with him, like, it's just the opportunity is there.
It sure is. And you have the problem with comedy on the road. I mean, look.
Yeah, do you worry about that as now that you're getting married and thinking about more serious?
You know what's interesting? I think about this stuff all the time. I've had people hit on me and she's had people hit on her, and it's almost like getting hit on in that little dance there is as fulfilling as
I've said
somebody.
I've said that a lot myself. I feel like 9/10 of the excitement of the hookup is knowing that it's going to go down, like knowing that it's possible. I mean, most of the reason I'm attracted to another woman is because she's attracted to me. It's like, oh, she's liking this.
And
it's like an ego stroke. It's like, oh, if I could flirt with them and they accept it, it's like that's 90% of my attraction. It's what gets me excited. Like, oh, it's working. Closing the deal is more perfunctory.
And flirting could be emotional cheating, but it can also just be like a friendly energy vibe that people get. And like the book, The Superior Man.
Are you flirting with me?
All day. I'm looking at those quads you got. Absolutely.
I know. My shorts are short today.
But it's like if my fiance is out to dinner and the waiter and her make eye contact and he gives her a compliment or something, she can bring back that sexual energy to the relationship. There's a line that doesn't have to be crossed there. And with comics, you're on stage flirting with the audience to an extent.
I don't know. You haven't seen my act, buddy.
You're trying to win them over in a way, through jokes and whatever. But like there is this weird like sort of tango that's happening. It doesn't have to be like this dark place. A lot of the comics that don't get laid till they're funny on stage, those are the ones you got to worry about. Those are the guys that are using their comedy to like talk to women afterwards and all that. And it's like, I feel like you got laid before you did stand-up. Yeah, I got laid before I did stand-up. So there's like that itch. I'm not saying it's scratched. You're always going to have that. But I think I'm not as needy with needing that type of validation as I am from like just
getting the laughter.
Yeah,
I just want the work.
Yeah.
But I also there's something apart about it being on the road. And like I hope for Jeff Dye, the guy's fucking gorgeous. No one wants to fuck the troll that goes before him. It's me.
Oh, I'm sure you get his runoff. I'm sure you get the best friend.
No, see, I don't want. No, I don't get. Even their best friend wants to fuck him, and also I would never take runoff. Like I have more self-respect. Like, he's going to settle for me. I'll fuck your friend. No, fuck him. Get out of here. But what always troubled me about it was, watching like women who she has a husband or whatever, and she's giving you the eye. Puts me off. Like women who do that, like, she's got a boyfriend. She's like, oh, if we get rid of him, we'll go do this. I'm like, that puts me off to all the women in the room at some point because it's like, oh, if that's what's going on here, like, you don't like me. You like the idea that some fucking some hot shot from LA came into town and he was just on stage, so I'm gonna fuck the guy who was just on stage. It's like it's not even about me.
And that
it's about the local hero or the local or the locals like in the fancy face who came in from LA to Dayton, Ohio.
And that's
like I don't want any part of that. I'm not your fantasy. I'm not I'm not here to to be a notch in your belt. Yeah.
Yeah. That's her dopamine rush because she has some
Exactly.
boring relationship that she's in.
Exactly.
You know? That's just when
And
you
it puts
kinda-
me off. I'm like, I don't want to do any of that.
Yeah,
Like, I want to drink with Jeff now. I'll see you later.
My YouTube audience is very respectful of my relationship. I mean, if in my live chat someone like will be hitting on me, they'll shut that down. He's married. They're just
my
total
God.
cock blocks, which is great.
Yeah.
Because
Well, I'm sure it's mostly women.
92% women.
Wow. So you got 2 channels now, right?
I got
to
a
plug that before we
couple.
get out of here.
I got a couple, but Dave Neal is my main Bachelor channel, and then I have the Dave Neal Show, which is non-Bachelor content, which has like the celebrity commentary and all that. Yeah.
Okay. And how long you been doing those 2?
Those took off during the pandemic.
And
yeah.
you just keep both simultaneously going?
The Bachelor's like the breadwinner, and the other channel when I don't have as much Bachelor content. But I just make nonstop. I made like 6 videos today.
Oh, geez.
Maybe 7 actually.
And how do you write all this shit? You just go off the cuff.
I just comment on the news, so the news writes it for me.
Oh,
so it's just my thoughts.
I gotta find a gig like that.
Yeah. Find something you're passionate
know.
about and do commentary on it.
Well, I know you do The Bachelor. I'm a big Love Island UK fan.
There you go. They have a big following. I just don't have enough time to cover
I don't have enough time in the day to get to it.
I don't have enough time to cover all these other dating shows because the niche still hasn't hit the ceiling. Like it's so.
I know how many millions of views you getting these days.
I get about a million watch minutes a day right now.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
But
Good
it's
for
a
you, man.
busy time of year, so it's like we're.
Do you have to find your own advertising, or does YouTube do
It's
that for you?
all through YouTube.
Okay.
So YouTube pays.
They just pay you what they.
Google pays me once a month, and you know every single day what you made the previous day, and it used to be like $3-4 a day, and then the most it ever was a couple thousand.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good for you, man. That's
Yeah.
great, dude.
So it's busy. And
I'm surprised because like I don't know how does a view count to dollar ratio work?
it's how many people watch your content. So like my videos are a little bit longer, and the longer the video, the more ads you can put in there.
Okay.
So, and also my audience being women has a higher CPM, so
Genius.
a higher amount versus like your average like prank show would have a very low CPM because like anyone who's watching prank shows isn't necessarily spending money.
Yeah.
Whereas women spend a lot of money on advertising.
So I gotta find a female friendly show to comment on.
I think it's Love Island. I think you got it.
Okay, fair enough. I appreciate the tip. All right, guys. Dave Neal, follow him at Dave Neal, right?
D Neal's on Instagram.
D Neal on Instagram, or you can plug your stuff.
Yep.
Plug away.
At D Neal's on Instagram, DNEALZ, and then just Dave Neal on YouTube for all the other random.
Go
content.
check him out. He's a sweetheart of a guy and a good guy for doing this. Appreciate you, bud.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it.
All right, guys. That's it for this week. You can follow me, as always, at Randy Valerio. Follow the podcast, at Ready Set Blow Podcast. We are on YouTube now, speaking of YouTube.
Nice.
Now that I'm using the studio, so you can follow the podcast there. That's it for this week. We'll be next. Peace.